Mason is with us today. Do you want to say hi, Mason?
Hi.
Yeah. So, today I want to share something with you, which I have actually created yesterday, and I quite like the looks. It's going to be this miniature paintings. I think I did all of them in about 15 minutes, and it's because it's so small, you really don't fuss about it, and it gives you a sense of freedom, and sometimes it can really improve your watercolor techniques or drawing techniques even. So I've done a number of different things here. So this is the new palette that I have been using for my face illustrations, as well as some of the floral illustrations that you have seen me use. And this is just a face that I have done a few days ago. I'm just trying to see. So it was this one here. I wanted to create something a lot simpler, just to see how it would look. Then there is a floral, a peony here, floral illustration of an earring and a girl walking at the beach. So you can choose a theme and have it run through on the page. For example, it could be just if you're going to the beach and there are different people sitting, you could just sort of make miniature paintings of someone walking, someone sitting. So you have different maybe figure drawings or different perspectives even. Or you could do just a page on flowers or faces, whichever you like. So here's a bit of a experimental thing. And then I've done the frame by just doodling, and that actually created a nice look to it. So what I'm going to do today is I'm intending to do a selection of miniature floral paintings, and so the line here is quite wonky for the frame, but I think today I will confine myself in this size. So I've got washi tape here, and I'm just going to draw out a few kind of circles just to keep myself within those areas. So I'm going to very lightly outline this washi tape. I will probably go over it with a bit of with an ink pen or something in the end. So if it's not perfect, I can work around it, I suppose. So this is the space I'm giving myself. Now you can go slightly bigger if you find this is too small, or equally if you want to go even smaller, you can obviously try that. Just find anything round that you can do, or you can find a stencil that you can buy on Amazon or something like that. So at the minute I'm just keeping it pencil, and later on I will work through it. Now to create the illustration you can use any type of ink pen, and I'm thinking today I'm going to use the platinum carbon ink fountain pen, and probably start with this frame because I'm going to be working from left to right. It's easier for me not to smudge. So let's see. I think I'm going to start by drawing some lavender, and I'll probably zoom you in just so you can see what's going on, because these are teeny tiny. So my lavender is about to bloom, and this year it has got so many flowers. It's like these big balls of lavender, which are very, very pretty. So I'm going to try and capture that. And let's see, I'm going to do another one slightly lower. Like I think I said before, that I found this to be hugely satisfying. Something like this you can do in fraction of time, and you can even do it at the airport. In fact, this summer I'm going to experience first time flying with Mason just on my own, and so I'm a little bit nervous, but I hope he won't be too naughty, and it won't get too much out of control, the whole flying experience. But yeah, so I'm kind of thinking, just to keep myself sane and calm and peaceful, to take watercolor with me, and you know, whenever I have a bit of time at the airport, then just do a little bit of watercoloring, just taking 5 minutes just to kind of do that, I think would be quite nice. So here is my lavender. It's very teeny, very tiny. Now, okay, there is this other one, which is the curry plant. It's a herb plant in my garden. It's growing in one of those what are they called? Pots, like round pots. And they're as well going to be blossoming rather soon, I think. So at the moment they're quite closed, but when they do, they open into these big, pretty kind of balls of yellow flowers. And mind you, they're very, very aromatic. If you don't have it, have a look if you can get it in your garden shop, because I personally love it. Every time you sit near it or walk past it, and if the wind blows, it hits you with that very kind of mild, very aromatic curry flavor, or a curry scent. If you like it, I think you would really enjoy that. And it's got these kind of loads of thin leaves like so around it, and they're similar to rosemary, or kind of that sort of structure. And I'm just going to repeat it. All the way along, and some of them making them slightly longer, some shorter, but I think the key here is just create loads and loads of those leaves like that. So I'm going to leave it at that. I don't think I'll need a third one because I have 3 here. So I've got these other flowers, which I actually, in the front garden, I planted some of those bulbs last year, and I honestly do not remember what they were. So they just came out, and I'm trying to figure out what they are, but they're very pretty. They have these very pretty kind of flowers, and they're white and pale pink in a kind of spherical shape. And let's see, I'll make a small one down here. I think Mason is trying very hard to behave today. It's the first day of the week. I'm filming on a Friday, that he actually has to stay home today, because we've been out every single day, and it was fun, but it was also exhausting because I have loads to get done, and I just felt like you know, I basically this week had to get everything done in about a day and a half rather than the usual 5 days. So to create a little bit of detailing, I might just go in and just add a little bit of something to the bottom of the flowers, and maybe even why not these little kind of centers of the flowers sticking out. That could be quite nice as well, just to make it look a little bit more textured and interesting. Okay, so we've got purple here, we've got yellow here, but they're not really open yet, and then we've got pink. So I'm going to try and use a palette in a way that would allow me to mix colors similar to one another so that they wouldn't contrast. So I'm going to use a very small brush for this matter. I'm going to use the Princeton Heritage watercolor brush, and this is the round number 1 because, you know, obviously the painting is so teeny. Okay, so I'm going to start with lavender, and I will see what kind of pink or purple I can mix up. So I already have a little bit of that Rhodonite Genuine here, and I've got the Mayan Blue Genuine over here. So let's see if I'm just going to gently mix them together. It should be that lilac-y kind of color. Now here I'm just going to blob the watercolor gently on one side because I want to still kind of maintain that shadow and light source effect. Now I've got some green here and I've got some dark blue, so I'm going to try and mix up like a grayish type of a green. Okay, so this is probably close enough now, and then just color it in. The watercolor is so little of it that it will dry very quickly, hence why you can do this like anywhere within seconds. And then I would mix it up slightly darker and just for interest apply just on one side where I want it to be kind of the darkest, and then I would go back to the lavender bits and just create a slightly brighter purple and add that again on one side just to pick it up again. At this point it will be dry for sure. So there you go, very easy, very simple. Now to have it finished, what I like to do is take a tiny bit of Payne's grey and water it out quite significantly, and then just create a little shadow beneath it, just to kind of like, you know, settle it and ground it a little bit. Do wash it out and soften the edges out. I find that it just looks much better. And then go with a slightly darker color, just dab it at the bottom, and it will kind of move a little bit, and you'll have that gradient effect of very dark to lighter and then lighter still. So you can, if you want, create more background and add that gray color between. It's up to you, but I quite like this very minimal look to it. So I'm going to move on to the next one, and this one is more of a grayish kind of color. So I'm going to mix it up here. It's more like a white gray almost, but I'm going to mix up this color. Similar to the one before, but just a little bit grayer. A fraction grayer. And that is all I'm doing. Sort of messily applying the watercolor because there is no point of trying to create anything too precise when it's the size of this. And then I'm going to just gently, again mostly on one side, add the watercolor. And if I want to, I can take a clean brush and just make the watercolor move a little bit out of it. And that is it again. And again, let's do the Payne's gray. And finally, this unidentified plant, which I'm going to, it's so the stalk is a lot greener, so I'm going to get sap green, but I'm going to use a little bit of that Payne's gray just to make it less bright, because you know these two are not bright green colors, so I don't want it to be screaming out too much. And then I'm going to just very thinly coloring these stalks, just a little bit in between here as well, just to give it a bit more of a natural kind of look, make it a bit thicker here in the center, just like that. And that is it. And then for the pink, I'm going to use this beautiful Rhodonite pink and just do that. And I'm going to have a look whether it's actually working color wise, or is it becoming a bit too colorful, because if it is, then I'm going to do a glaze and mute it slightly more down. So at this point I think the green is a little bit too much, so I'm going to dab it off. And now I'm going to mix it in with the Payne's gray and go over the top, and it becomes a little bit more cooler toned, like so. And then for the pink, actually I'm going to also mute it down with the Payne's gray, and now it's a perfect pink because it's not too pink. Okay, so that works really nice now. And I'm going to do the same thing with the Payne's gray for the base of it. Okay, so that is that, and if I'm going to zoom out, you will see how pretty it looks on a page layout, but at the moment it kind of is not looking finished. So what I like to do, and that's my own preference, is use a very fine pen. The one that I'm enjoying lately is the Muji gel pen, and this is the 0.25, so it's very fine point, and it's in black, and therefore I can just create the finest line. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw around, or try to kind of trace the pencil line before I erase it, because in the previous ones I erased it and then I ended up with very wonky lines, so I wanted to be a bit more precise this way. But you know, if I don't get it straight, it's fine, because I will add doodling. So I'm just going to go around, and I can never do straight lines but I think a bit of a wonky line always adds a bit more character, so you'll see what I mean, because right now it almost looks a little bit too rigid, but once I have erased the rigid pencil line, there you go, still sort of straightish, but it's a little bit more organic. And then I'm going to do doodling. So you can do all sorts of doodling you like, or you can leave it like that. Personally, I find that it looks a lot neater with a bit of doodling. So I'm just going to do the scallop edge and go all the way around. Okay, so I have done the doodling and I hope you can see the slight difference, or you know, for me it's a big difference. It just makes it look so much more cuter. You can go further and add little dots inside the scallops, but I think today I'm going to leave it like that. And you can do the same frame on the other, so you can create a little bit more interest and do different designs like I've done here, so you can, you know, find different pattern that you want to embellish it with. And that is it. The only thing I want to tell you before I go, keep in mind that this is a water soluble ink, so if you decide to do the frame, if you find it easier to do the frame with the ink pen and then go with the watercolor, be aware that it's going to move and it's not going to stay put. If you want it to be stay put and waterproof, then I would recommend this platinum carbon ink fountain pen. It's in superfine. The line is going to be marginally thicker than this one, but it's still quite fine, and it's yeah, you wouldn't have the problem of the ink moving anywhere. But if you just want to do doodling after your watercolor, this pen is really fun to have. So I'm just going to go ahead, do the same thing, and then in the end I'll add some pictures, close-ups for you to see. So thanks for watching and see you soon.